Hello and welcome to Rockingham. My name is Justin. I'm the owner of Team 53 and I partner with Coach Dave Academy and Impel Motorsports to bring you this week's Learn to Drive video for ARCA at Rockingham as part of iRacing's 2025 Season 3 Week 6 official series. If you guys can, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It does a ton to help my channel. I am a very small time racer here in Wisconsin. I have a late model parked in my garage so my daughter Sydney can race her go-kart, which she's been racing pretty much every chance we can at either Badger Kart Club or Road America this summer. So it's been a ton of fun with that, watching her grow as well. There are some links to, so there's some videos that I posted on the channel of her last race up at Road America. So if you guys get a chance to, make sure you go and like that. But yeah, Rockingham and ARCA. We're a little late getting this video out this week. It is currently Wednesday morning of week 6. And I'm just kind of getting this video out now. But the big thing with Rockingham is you're really going to have to watch track temp. And I'll go through and we'll kind of talk about, you know, right now, if you go in your session and you go to your info tab, it will tell you what your weather is. So like I have a clear room, 84 degrees, track temps 124 degrees. I was going through some of the results this week from Rockingham, and some of them were partly cloudy, some of them were a couple degrees cooler. All of those things, cloud cover is going to make a big difference in your lap times here. If you get a room that, you know, your track temp is 110 degrees, you're probably going to be a tenth, maybe 2/10 faster than the lap times that I'm turning in this room. So it's an incredibly hot room in terms of looking at the results, but it's the room I got, so that's what we're going to show you guys. Um, you know, a lot of you guys ask about steering and stuff. Let's go through the setups. It's a fixed race setup. We can't really change too much other than steering ratio, steering offset, and front brake bias. The only two things that I've changed: steering offset, I went to a +4, just driver comfort thing. +10 is going to take your steering wheel, like the line at the top or where your center is, and move it to the right to probably about like 1 or 2 o'clock on a clock. Whereas if you put it +4, it's going to be like 12:30-ish. So it's just a little bit easier for me to handle down the straightaway. I don't feel like I'm turning to the right. But then yet when I go into the corner with a +0 offset, I feel like I'm going really far to the left. So it just kind of manages that for me. And then our brake bias, 62%. Basically what you want to do is you want to decrease this down to the point where when you go into the corner, you don't feel the car skating up the track when you're under braking. So that's kind of the key to that. But other than that, whoops, you guys should be a-okay there. Let's go around for qualifying. What I found for qualifying lap 2 is definitely the better of my two laps. Lap 1, there just wasn't quite enough grip in the tires to really make it worth my while, but lap 2, something clicked and it worked really, really well. So we'll head out for qualifying. While we do that, we'll talk about my friends at Impel Motorsports. They're a next level sim rig dealer as well as a Moza dealer. So if you're looking to upgrade your sim racing products, head over to them. If you join the Team 53 Discord, on a lot of the next level SimRig products, we can offer you free shipping. So got to be a Team 53 Discord member, and there's a link in the announcements to that discussion. So as we go out here for qualifying, you can see it's a little dicey here right off the bat. Um, we kind of get going though. We'll go into the corner. I'm just really feeling out grip here. And this is where I kind of noticed there wasn't quite enough grip on lap 1. Was exit of turn 1. I felt like the rear was sliding a little bit. I had to wait to get on throttle. So I go here into 3 and 4. I go nice and high and get a huge run built. We go down the front stretch here, and I'm going to kind of cut this dog leg just a little bit, not a ton, but we're not all the way up here against the wall. We're not all the way down here along the yellow. We're just kind of, you know, mid area. Getting ourselves really set up for turn 1 is really the important thing. So as you're looking at it, right, you see the rock there, and you're going to want to aim for right about here as going to be your wide out point, and then you're going to drive it down into the corner. So we'll go down the front stretch here, and now I'm looking here at this corner, and right that point where I drew that X, that's where you're going to start to turn in, and you're going to lift and brake. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, once you kind of know Rockingham, you're pretty good. Um, there's outside lane here, there's those two cracks right there with the line. That's probably the easiest way to kind of know that you're in the right space for it. But we get there, we're going to lift, we're going to use about 50% brake to get this car down into the corner. And you can see here, I'm pitching this car down towards the bottom. My aim point is going to be right about here for the left side tires. I'm going to let this car kind of slide up a little bit in the corner, and then I'll get back in and get a pretty straight drive off. So let's see how close we come on that aim. So we bring it in, We're aiming right down there to the bottom. We're still dragging a little bit of brake into this corner. So let's kind of show this to you guys a little bit slower. We bring it in, straighten that wheel under braking. We're trying to limit the amount of yaw that we get this car in because too much will send this car really, really loose. So we just kind of drive it into the corner. You can see here it's pushing the nose just a little bit in the center. I hold my steering wheel pretty dead tight. And then right as we get to about mid-corner, if you guys are looking at the pit road, it's pit stall 5. There's the line right off of pit stall 5, and that's kind of the imaginary spot where I kind of start to throttle up. So we give it a little bit of throttle, and what that throttle is going to do is going to help bring that car back down the hill, and that's going to help us with our drive off 3/4 throttle until we just about get it straight here coming out of this corner. So you see how my wheel, right as I go to full throttle, I straighten out that wheel and I just drive it up off the corner. So we're perfect there, nice and tight up along the backstretch. As you get to the rock here, where the inside pits change, where the inside wall changes to the metal barrier there, we'll show that to you here in the cockpit. You can kind of see we're coming down the backstretch. We go past the rock, and that's my turn-in point. And then as I start to get into this corner, I can see out my left monitor that I'm by the metal wall. And we'll show that to you guys here in the far chase. So you can see we're here about midway through it. That's where we're going to start to lift and brake for turn 3, and we're going to bring it down to the bottom. And you see too immediately, right after we get past this white line here in the corner, we're feeding a little bit of throttle through to get that momentum built up. And then it's just kind of riding those bumps and letting the car take it where it wants to. Cut the dog leg down the front stretch, and we got a 179 in like 124-degree room, which should be a pretty good lap. I was looking, I think the fastest lap time I saw was a 24.0 in a room that probably had about 111-degree room. So should be spot on with these lap times. We'll rewind and then we'll go inside the car presented by our friends at Overdrive Racing Oils and Lubricants. They are an independent AMSOIL dealer. Anytime you use the link in the description to purchase oil, car care, cleaning products, anything from AMSOIL, as long as you use that link, we will get credit for it, and that will help keep the content on this channel free. So let's head in here and we'll give you a lap inside the car. And that was a lap inside the car. Big thing as we switch here over to race is going to be we're going to go from riding the bottom in qual trim to going to the top in race trim. And why do I go to the top in race trim? Well, race trim is going to all be about keeping your momentum built up. And when you go down to the bottom, you can get one lap really, really quick, but if you've got somebody to your outside and you've got to hold the car down or anything like that, you're just going to lose so much time that you really have to run middle top here at Rockingham to really be competitive. Now, the thing that you're going to have to watch out for, right, is burning off your tires, whether it be your right front or your right rear. If you're constantly feeling that rear end slide coming off the corner on entry, stuff like that, you're probably going to burn off your right rear tire by the end of the race. If you're feeling the car push on entry every single time, you can just feel that cheese grater getting into it, and you'll start to see it when you start looking at your tires after runs. You'll really kind of feel that cheese grater, and you'll really want to watch and kind of back your lap times down. So I looked at the results tab, and I think the fastest I saw in a room was like a 24.2 for race trim. Most people were right around 24.3s, 24.4s. So if you can get to that lap time, you should be pretty good. Now I'm going to run a 24.215 in 124 track temp room. So the speed is definitely there on a race trim where you kind of back it down a little bit, but you really got to be careful. So what I try and do, for me, the easiest way to get into one and to give me some room, where if I get into one and I hit a bump wrong or the car starts to push wide, I've got room to correct, is to bring it into this corner, and there's this crack that runs right here pretty much on a seam through that entire corner. So what I do is I bring it in and I take this crack that runs right there about a third of the way up the track. And I'll put my left sides and kind of straddle that on entry. So you see how we're straddling that on entry. Then you can kind of let the car drift up, and you can get a little bit easier straight drive off. It gives you room to cut exit if you need to. It gives you a lot of room to do things, but it lets you keep your momentum built up pretty good. Same kind of deal here in 3 and 4. We'll bring it in. We're only going to bring it about halfway through this corner, half to a third through this corner. We'll let the car kind of drift up, and then we'll just throttle up and drive off. Now remember, what we know from previous videos and why I typically avoid running the top is because the top is about 2 to 3/10 slower than running the bottom. But in terms of momentum here at Rockingham, which is everything because these straightaways are pretty slow, the car is geared pretty boggy, running the top, definitely the way you want to go. I don't even know if like that last lap I entered really low. I don't know if I do that. It wasn't any faster there. But like I said, when I found that if I kind of kept my left sides right around this crack, halfway a third, this lap was terrible there. I tried to get down to the bottom. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're lighting up your rears every single time, you're going to lose out. If you're throttling up and it's just sliding on you, you're going to struggle this week. So definitely want to look at that. Let's go. Our 2:15 lap was coming up. So if we had just been a little bit more patient. So race lap 2:15, you see I'm nice and tight here up against the wall. We bring it into the corner, bring it down to this line. You see a decent amount of brake travel, 50% through the corner. Let it roll to the top here. Get back in. Just a slight cut, right? So when we saw earlier in the run, I got closer to the yellow. Now I'm going to keep it up higher and just let it drive up off the corner. Take it down the back stretch, bring it into the corner, give it that lift, back on throttle, play with it a little bit till I know I'm comfortable, and then just a nice hard drive off, and we'll get a 2:15 lap here. So if you guys can, if you've made it this far, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Best of luck this week in your racing. Make sure you're hitting up our partners in the links below. It really helps keep the channel free. And like I said, if you're looking to upgrade your sim racing rig, head over to the Team 53 Discord to take part in our exclusive Next Level Sim Rig discount, which offers you free shipping on just about everything that Next Level offers. But there is a way to get that in the description or in the announcements tab. So best of luck, and we will see you guys in the next video.